Moody teenagers, slamming doors, that's what we're talking about today on Tips on Teens. My name is Kent Toussaint. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist here at Teen Therapy Center in Woodland Hills. I'm also the executive director and founder of the nonprofit organization Child and Teen Counseling. So we're going to jump in today's question. Here we go. Since my daughter started high school this year, she has been really moody. She blows up on us whenever we say no and then locks herself in a room. We've been told to take her door off her room. Should we? What do we do about her behavior? This kind of question comes up a lot. It's understandable because this dynamic is very prevalent in our society. So we have a teenage girl, 14 or 15, getting upset when mom, dad says no, storms off to her room, slams her door, locks herself in. And what do we do about this? Do we take the door off the hinges and to teach her a lesson? Well, what lesson is it going to teach her? It's going to teach her not to slam the door. Well, that behavior is just going to come across somewhere else. If you take the door off, you're just dealing with a symptom. You're not dealing with a cause. And so what is the cause? What is the emotional need she's trying to meet? I'm not saying she's doing it in a healthy way, but there's got to be some way for us to understand what is the root cause of this issue. Again, you can take the door off, but then she's going to find another way to lash out. So I'm not saying you can't take the door off. I just don't know how effective it's going to be. It may be temporary. I don't know. So she locks the door, runs off to the room whenever you say no. Well, let's take a look. And I don't know what you're saying no to. It may be very reasonable things to say no to. But it may be worth talking to her when she's calm and rational, and when you are calm and rational, say, hey, let's relook at the boundaries that we're setting here. And is there wiggle room? Is there room to negotiate? Is there room for you to earn more privileges? Whether it's going out with friends, whether it's more screen time, I don't know what it is. There's a big thing called FOMO, which you probably already know what that stands for, FOMO, fear of missing out. So when there are limits placed on teenagers and their friends don't have limits and all their friends are getting together, whether it's online or they're somewhere, getting smoothies together, and your one kid can't go because of homework or can't log on or whatever it is, there's this fear of, oh my gosh, if I'm not there, my friends will hate me and I'll be the loser. And it's this highly emotional fear, and it's part of being a teenager. It's what teenagers do. That's part of the developmental milestone, is fitting in and finding your connection with people. It's normal for kids to go through that. So if that's the case, it's important to find out, how do we find a middle ground where she is able to connect with her friends in a reasonable way, as long as it's not interfering with homework, other activities, some family time. But we also have to make sure that there is time for her to connect with friends. I think that's important. Could be a lot of different things. We don't know exactly why she's reacting, and that's why it's important to find out. Maybe going to a therapist, if you're not finding any way to negotiate this, going to a therapist who works with teens to help navigate that, who can speak teenager, who can speak parent, and kind of bridge that together. Another thing could be totally different than behavior, than FOMO and all that stuff, is if she's a freshman in high school, she's 14 or 15, she's developing into a woman, she's going through puberty, her brain is developing, and as teenagers go, as human biology develops, she's going to have thoughts and feelings that are of more sexual nature. And that could run the gamut of a lot of different things. And that can be very awkward and uncomfortable. And for some teenagers, they're thinking about this a lot, and they're trying to work it out. And when you see them, when you're talking to them, it's as if you can see right through them and see all those weird thoughts and feelings they're having, and it's really uncomfortable. So what teenagers will do is they'll isolate or they'll attack. They'll pick a big fight, they'll blow up, they'll slam doors, or they'll isolate and not say anything. And it's a way to hide from you seeing them as a sexual being, because they're not used to being seen that way, and they don't understand how to see themselves that way. And if they can see themselves that way, they can see you that way, and that's kind of creepy, so, and it's just normal. It's embarrassing for kids. I don't know if you remember being a teenager and feeling this way, but it's pretty normal. And I think the way to bridge that gap is start educating your kids on that process, on sexual thoughts and feelings, how they are normal, they are part of growing up. It's okay. It doesn't make you bad or wrong or weird. is just anatomy and biology. So I encourage you to educate your kids on these things. There are books out there that you can read with your kid. If your kid doesn't want to read them with you, you can just leave them in your room, in her room. Robbie Harris, Robbie Harris, Harris, is an author who writes many of these books for different ages. I encourage you to go to a bookstore if you can find one and flip through one, see if you feel it's appropriate. Most of the parents I refer to these books to really like them because they're respectful, they have a little bit of humor, and they kind of help demystify the situation in a respectful way. And the more you can demystify it, maybe it creates a little less tension. So that's our question for today. Thanks for your question. Keep them coming. Your questions can be answered here every Wednesday at noon on Tips on Teens at Teen Therapy Center. It's Tips on Teens at teentherapycenter.com. That's your email address, or you can direct message us here, or you can join our Facebook group, which is just called Tips on Teens. Feel free to join us. Anyways, I'll see you next Wednesday at 12, answering your parenting questions. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.